We're going to be in the back. Not 100% sure where we were. I know that I wanted to do number Yud Bet in the Biurim down below. And to do that, I think I have to start with number Hey up above and try to get into number Yud Bet. 1 second. Okay, so we're on page Taf Shin Yud Bet, like I said. Let's see what this says, and we'll see if Thomas start at the top of number Hey. He says, Rabbi ZOHAR, he said it should be here the Fidarko. Now, 1 second. What are we talking about? We're talking about a phrase which, let me see if I got the right place. Yeah, okay. We're talking about the phrase, the Isgalian in Busmin de Tipsa. There's been a lot of question about what the word Busmin de Tipsa means, because maybe it's not that, maybe it's a Tolos Sofrim or something, or they have different versions of this phrase. So now it says, Rei bezoar he said shabir the fidarko. What does this phrase mean? He said the Arab histalkus shorshe ha-oros mibechinis ha-osius dezer v'nuk. Okay, so I'm not sure exactly what he said when he said that. He says, well, first of all, we're talking about the root of the osius, which has to be something which is, or an energy which is very, very non-physical. The Arab histalkus shorshe ha-oros mibechinis ha-osius dezer v'nukva. Ein Sham. Now, the question is that, so you have the 22 letters, and they're manifest in Zohar v'nuk. I guess that's what he wants to say, but the Zecher v'bir Khan, so here he wants to say like this. When the lights, the roots of the lights are shining, then you can't see the letters. Now, I assume that what he meant, I'm not sure he means what I thought. I assume that what he meant was because they're so transparent or so non-physical that you have the osius are much more physical, like we said, like it represents a malchustic aspect. So Chaldedevish of a Rizal b'pri Eitz Chaim, he wrote like this: the B'Shas Kodesh, the B'Shabbos Kodesh, okay, Shemeir HaNefesh Yisera. Now that's a whole subject of its own. Obviously, the Nefesh Yisera, when that shines, and you pick this up, so this is a whole other subject. It's the subject of the fact that, as we see in the Ari in different places, he could read a person's forehead. There, it was talking that was in Shara Gilgulim. Here he's talking about that they're recognizable, a person's sins on their foreheads. But when the roots of these oros leave, then you see the impression, the form of the letters. So that's what I thought. It meant more physical. The Zecher She'amar Khan, that's what it said. The Bavai Kad is Stalak Haiv is Galion Inin Tufsim, Potmim de Tipsa. So, as we see that there are different definitions or different ways of looking at this phrase, Potmin de Tipsa, he says, Vigaris Putmin. What's Putmin mean? Kagiris is the Fusrishon, which we found in Mantoba and Cremona, the original publications. That's the way it wrote it. Tipsa, because he explains, a tipsa who meloshan seer. It's a kind of a form. Maybe it means a template. I'm not sure. Pusmin, that's other phrase, the other side of the phrase, which sometimes called posmim or different things. Who meloshan deshain v'prachim. It's some kind. It's like plant life or growing life. Aromas the tzioria osis, which is how this is remez to this. I'm not sure. He says, which is a hint to the form of letters. So the Zohar says over there is Galion inin putmin de tipsa. So these putmin de tipsa again are revealed. So over there the pirish putmin shem klau the call neta v'desha yonkim. So let me read it again. That what does it mean? Putmin is a general name that refers to all of these growing things, this plant life that grows from the ground and nurses off of the ground. He says the tipsech betzir v'tfus, so it's a template, so to say, forma belaz. I think we read this before because I think we read it before. So he said the Haino Asvon Zeirin, these are small lights, the Zer Venuk. So he's Asvon Zeirin, those are, I think he means manifest in Zohar Venuk. But so the Pasuk, and then this is the sukkah of this Pasuk, Va'akre Ori Nakfui. So he says, on the back of my skin, my hide, there's something strikes there. Mizgalim, and as a result of that, Mizgalim Osius L'chutzka Bavur, then you start seeing the lights, the letters, are now starting to be manifest. So this is in the Torah over there. This is my number, Yud Bet. He said, Mavur B'Pri Eitz Chaim Sham. Shenizgalem of the noisech umektarv, so the revelation of the letters umektarg and the accusations they bring umektarg roa umasdim umevil love called harols, and as a result of that, you see umasdim lashon satan mevil love called harols, all kinds of bad things happen. That brings that on. B'yom Shabbos, so that's the regular way. So he's saying that inside somehow there's some kind of energy of the averos that a person did, and they're manifest on his skin. B'yom Shabbos, but that's at their weekday. On the Shabbos, because then what she called the nefesh yitzera, when that shines on a person, ein avanosim misgalim b'mitzcha, then you don't see his sins on his forehead. Ki ein el aretzonim achize v'misha yeshlo or Shabbos kodesh ha'aretz shrashim al yonim. So this actually shows that's what he's saying something like the phrase nefesh yitzera refers to what? It refers to Shroshim Elyonim V'zecher Amavai Kadistaluk Elon, because then it reveals the sins. So Elon Oros V'izgalan Inin Prachuk V'tziurim Oshel HaOsit. The question was what the flowers and different formations have to do with this, because that's what flowers under the skin when there's nothing, when the shroshim are gone. Let's go down to number Yud Bet, down below. He says over here, he says, Rei Belukute Torah Sham Bezel Lashona Bediluk Dagki Ein Guf V'Nefesh V'Ruach Shalo. Okay, we have three phrases, Guf, Nefesh, and Ruach. Nivroch V'Al Yedech V'Kaf Beis Osius Da Ki Ein L'Chol Guf V'Nefesh V'Ruach Shalo Nivro. All of these things are built Ayedei Kaf Beis Osius Torah. So that was just straightening out that idea. All of these are inside. So the man himself surrounds these 22 letters. I think that's what he's talking about. They're inside of us. So he says sokech, like schach alechem, dugmas rekia umasach, just like the heavens above, I guess. And masach means some sort of a screen. So a person who's really a righteous person, the persons whose nefesh is become more refined, so there's a possibility in his soul, there is a tanuosa. It's not tanuosahu. Let's just get the word to anusehu, means its movements, I think. So what does it translate? It says Yecholis l'ha'ir la'avar derech hamasach. So it's possible that these go through this skin, let's say called the skin, this masach. V'letzeis b'chutz and begala tanuosa atanuoseha. So I would think it was going to say avonosa, but he didn't say that. He says it's movements. So in Amnam, Eloha osios he mizgalim b'chutz. They're revealed mechutz or ha'adam, so they become revealed on a person's skin, outside of the inside of the man. O b'mitzcha, or it could be that it's on his forehead. O b'shar gufo, or maybe somebody else, somewhere else. So the Likutei Torah is talking about this. V'zecha v'sod v'achar ori nakfuzo. So he says, on the back of my skin, he says, nakfu struck, this struck. Ki nakfu lashon hakor. Now, what is it? It means that the avonos are striking against your skin. It doesn't say it has to be in your forehead. That's what the Likutei Torah says. Kamo ein adam nokev itzboro milamata. So that phrase, so now nokev, the lashon striking. V'ha'inin ki mashu nigla el ha'adam. So what you can see on a man, hu ha'or, is the skin. That's when you look at a person, that's what you see. You see his outer part. V'hinecha osa ha'or hu masach al mashabifnem. So it's a screen or a covering over what's inside. V'nimsach ki oras penimim heim omdim achrei ha'or. So we see that there are lights. He says oras penimim. They're standing on the backside of the skin. In other words, on the inside of the skin. We see it. We're talking about the outside. Or hu nigla, because here the part of the person that's actually be able to see is this skin. V'heim b'kusim bo, and the avonos are hidden inside of it. V'omdem achrecha or. So on the back side of the skin, that means on the inside of the skin, amanakvim umakim bo, that strike the skin, umotziim or usechem lechutz, v'oz ani roa osam, and then I'm able to see them. Now he's saying previously that that situation only happens during the weekdays. Let's go on to a little bit more, and let's go to number. So that was, where did we read this? Where was I? I said okay, but that was the ZOHAR. Okay, sorry. So now we're going to a different place, and we're going to go to this phrase Sharikim or Sharikim, lo avri lo misakvi bedukta. So the translation is whatever Sharikim is, and he's going to tell us. Lo avri, they don't move. Lo misakvi bedukta, lo avri. So I'm not sure about the translation of lo avri. They don't move. Lo misakvi bedukta. So misakvi bedukta means is that they're moving. They don't stay in their own place. So what is this shrieking? Bibir inyan shrieking lo avri. Lo avri, that particular phrase, misakvi bedukva, that phrase. Rabbi Bira Meshulta Lefi Arizal. What's it say? Should is Baral P Yafashah. This can be explained according to the Yafashah. Kibishas his Gavros Hadinim Vianikas Hakitzonim. That at the time when the dinim become very strong, the Kitzonim are feeding off of the Kedusha. Azai Malache Bale Hadin Hanikroim Sharikim. Enun Ovrim al Hadin. In other words, they don't here ovrim means overlook. Enun Ovrim al Hadin bebechin is over a passion, like that kind of idea. Ve'enim misakvi bekoma lomala, and they don't stay in their place. Now, what he means by malamala, but he means in Benemius, they don't stay just inside. Lahamtin, to wait for, he says, Ulai yashuva hatachtona b'tshuva. So he says an automatic mechanism by which, if there's a departure of these, whatever it is of this not Shabbos that we serve according to the Zohar or what? So he said Ray Beor Ya. So okay, let's try it again. Ray Beor Yakar Sham Shabir Kandafi Darko Lael The Iri kan his gavros hadinim machmasilos yud el yona the Eric anpin ein sham, which is another way of saying of the historicals of the yud, which is he wants to represent Kesser. V'lezecha v'bir kan then what's displayed over here. The b'shazis gavros hadinim, when the dinim are very strong. Azai sa'aros gavos einayim dezer anpin. Then you see that the eyebrows. Now apparently these are eyebrows not like ours. They actually are growing, or they have different attributes. Dezer anpin hanikroim Sharikim. Bechasim v'chotzim as eini zer anpin. So they cover over, and they make a separation of the eyes of zer anpin. And he said, why? Kadei shelo yistaklu be'eina elyonin de Eric Anpin, so they shouldn't be able to look at the eyes of Eric Anpin. There's a block on the eyes from the eyebrows. So then they are not able to bathe and become whitened of the lavdom odom einayim de zer anpin, the redness in the eyes of zer anpin. B'chalav, with the whiteness that comes from Eric Anpin, begavan loven. This is what it means, la'avra, to overlook. Koloma, what does it mean? Lahaver v'lesalek hashgachas eini Eric Anpin, so it means to remove. So Koloma, lahaver, to remove, v'lesalek hashgachas eini's Eric Anpin, v'az kishya yeshgichu eini zer anpin lamata. So therefore, when the eyes of zer anpin are looking down lamata, bebechin is gavan edem shehu dinim, which is the concept of this redness, which is din. Umeidach sa'aros. Let me see, I'll lose it a place here. And he says, umeidach sa'aros, those self-same hairs, which comes from the gavos anayim of the eyebrows, they don't completely and totally close up the eyes of zer anpin. He says Ella la'achasha silko es hashgachas eini Eric Anpin. That only happens when the eyes of Eric Anpin. Let me just see if I got that exactly right. Ella la'achasha silko es hashgachas eini Eric Anpin. Lo misakve bedukta, then these dinim don't wait. Edim misakve b'makom echad, they don't bundle up. What is it? Gather together. But they open up the eyes of zer anpin. Then what happens when they open up the eyes of zer anpin? So that he should be able to look downwards. Hashgichu means look over downwards. Which is the aspect of the redness of the dinim. So it sounds like what he said is that even though the eyes can't look upwards towards or inwards, or however we want to say it, of the origin of the light, which is Eric Anpin, or that Yud, he mentioned the Yud in the Vav Dalet, or he wrote it like that. He said that, what does he say? That we want, it still looks downwards. What downwards? Downward of the dinim in the left side of zer anpin. Let me get a little something to drink here. Clear my throat. Now, let's look at number Yud Gimel. I guess we have to start with number Yud Gimel. Yud Gimel kebet begavan loven elni v'zecha la'avra koloma lahaver v'salek. He said lahaver, where'd it go? Lahaver v'salek hashgachas eini Eric Anpin. So that's, he said, what we're talking about. Let's just look this little Yud Gimel real quickly. He says, kachu girzes ha'or yakar. Okay. Benidfas garis kan ki milus kach. So milus kach lo avri. That's the way you're supposed to read it, lo avri. There's going to be some different readings as we see over here. Let's look number Yud Dalet. We still have a couple of minutes, so let's see what we could do. Yud Dalet. Rei be'or yakar sham v'zel shana. This is what he says. Sharikim la avra Ha'inin ki srichim hainu sar gavos enayim. This is the, I guess it's sayer gavos enayim. It's the hair of the eyebrows. Shehim hamasalkim hashgacha o hagormim siluk hamistakel enayim lamala. So they have the attribute, I guess, what you're talking about really Zer Anpin. It's Zer Anpin receiving the light of up above, and the eyebrows have an ability to be able to stop it, to interrupt there. Hine yesh bechina achas dahainu shehem shrieking le'avra. Now, what is this idea? They're shrieking, and I don't know, le'avra, working on that. So, wait, let's look at it again. I got it wrong. It said shrieking le'avra. He changed the words here. So let's go on. So he put the word la'avor in here we go. There, lo la'avri doesn't go up. He put it all in one word. So hashgacha ma'arich anpin hamalvin odem enayim, which brings whiteness into the redness of the dinim that exist in zeranpin. Shehem besod enayim halyonim maginim v'chotzim osam, that they protect them, but they also of a chatzitza, they also represent an interruption there. Shehem sarkusa, so how you pronounce it? Sarkusa the al enayim. So this sarkusa, I guess he means the eyebrows. V'hech, that is the sa'aras agavas elu. Einem kavuim al enayim. They're not just stuck on top of the eyes. Ella lo misakve bedukta, but they don't let anything, I don't know, misakve bedukta, what does that mean? Held back in their place. They don't stay in their place. Be'inyan ba'ofen shehem gormin al yedech hatzitzim, that is, that they are caused as a result of their blocking. Shelo yistak lo anayim, the zer anpin, that the zer anpin is no longer able to look at the eyes of Eric Anpin, ba'ayin elyon, which is Eric Anpin. The lo yisrachasuchum b'chalav, they're not, as a result of that, the whiteness of the eyes of Eric Anpin is not able to come, could go begavan olovan elyon, this upper whiteness. V'hem mistalkim, and so he says they leave. V'lo misakvin b'mekoma, but they don't stay in their place. Kadesha sod hadin yihya nishpa lamata, because it has an automatic fact, and I guess he means to say that if Zer Anpin is not able to get whiteness, that whiteness we're talking about, which is this purity, I guess you would say, of the eyes of Eric Anpin, not able to get that, is soda din yihya nishpa lamata, because it doesn't stop the din, and in other words, there's no way to sweeten the din. So he said, well, like the ba'odim din with the redness of the din, be'inyan ba'ofen sheyesh lechem l'sa'aras agavos, that the hairs of the eyebrows, shtei pa'ulos, they two different things. So this is an animation of the eyebrows of Zer Anpin, which I don't think that we've really talked about it very much. Shehem Stevens and Pesicha, and what is their ability, or what do? They open and close. So that they don't stay just in one place. Close the eyes, so that they should not once again start spreading upwards. The hamshik loven or min Eric Anpin v'hainu stima. So this is like the seeking of Eric Anpin. So he's a lamala lahamshik loven, in order, and what do you seek? You seek that whiteness. V'im koyes stumim, but let's say that they were closed. This would be the concept of just the hashgacha moving out. He said, but they don't do that. But they open up the eyes. Why? Or hashgachas dinim namata, to bring it downward. So that was his concept, that they do. They don't close completely. They close off the ability to be able to look up. but they leave the ability to be able to look down, which is Lashon Din. Let's go to the next one. That was number Yud Dalet, and we could do this little thing here. He says, Rei Beferish Talmud. So he says, Shabir Khan Bezel Lashon Mamash Amas Sharikim Lo Avri. Ratzon Lomer Afilu Dinim Rekonim, even dinim that are empty, even empty dinim. She'enim dinim kol kach, they're not such tremendous dinim. She'enim dinim gemurim, they're not even, the big time dinim, complete dinim. Lo me'as b'dedukfa, but even though that they're not the real strong redness that we were talking about, they don't stay in their place. Ki kula mevakshim la'asos dinim chas v'shola, because they want to do their thing even if they're not particularly strong. One more, he says, Rei Bahadras Melech, look over there, Shabir Khan V'Zelashono. He says, V'oz Sharikim Bale Adin, that's what Sharikim are, he says. Lo Arvecha Milapul Pu'ulosim, they don't hold back, once again, I think overlook, to try to do something, Pu'ula, their din. V'lo Mis'akvi Bedukva, so they don't hold back. That's what we had up previously. Ein Mis'akvi B'Makomam Kamo. Be'ez ratzon, for example, there's a special time. Shemis akvim hamatargim, because in the Eitz ratzon, he didn't say Shabbos kodesh. He said the Eitz ratzon, shemis akvim maktaragim, and where they hold back and they shemis akvim, and they continue to criticize v'nit manim v'nufka to the home of Rabbi, and ultimately they wind up in that place. So that's pretty much it. I wanted to start looking at the, what was it called? Anyway, I wanted to start looking at the, I can't remember the name of the book. Hold 1 second. Yeah, so over here in my advanced old age, I forget names, I can't remember them. So this is Sefer Ketzeis HaShemesh. Now it's very interesting that the author of this book, whose name is Aaron, I think it's Aaronstein, but I could be wrong. It's a rabbi who's a Talmud Muvchak of the Reb Sraya Doblevsky, who passed away, I don't know, a year or 2 years ago. It's a tremendous Litvish scholar. And this is Talmud Muvchak. He doesn't write his name anywhere in it, so if you look at the book, you can't necessarily see. He's not looking for notoriety. Well, the reason why I got in that, this is on the Siddur Kavanas Spheres Omer. And in this Sefer, back here in the back, I don't know if I'm going to do this or when it's going to be done or where is it. He starts talking about the controversy that we entered into in regards to the Ana B'Koach, whether or not you're actually able to say the abbreviations, which is the name Abgitats. Oh, that's the first one, and then it goes on to Karasatan and different kinds of combinations of letters. It appears from the simple words of the Rav that you're not allowed to say the simple letters by themselves, but over here we find that this Rabbi Aronson, I don't know if I've got that name exactly right, but you can't read it because I just have to remember it. He doesn't have his name at the beginning of the Sefer. So here he says, Hamab Tevos Ta'ana B'Koach, Ho'im Heim Atzman Shemus Kedoshim. In other words, names that you can't say because they open up into the world beyond physicality. We can't say them out loud here. O she'enam ela roshe tevel shel mab shemohim, or there's another idea that these are actually abbreviations for another set of names. Like, for example, in Abgitats, each one of those letters actually represents a name. And so, therefore, the Abgitats itself is not the name. That's what he's going to argue about. At any rate, this is Baruch Fleischman. That's a Tikkun Elevator Kolo.